Okay, round two. Let's get this show on the road. We're going to, I filled up my bench and I found this gorgeous product over there that I sort of had forgotten I had. I actually bought it to use with some pink, which is not a color I use very often, but I do in the fall because the pink with the orange and the burgundies, they look so luscious together. But anyway, this is called grabia. It's a shrub. It's a great filler. I don't use it in many colors, but I do like this color, and I have not used it on anything. So there it is. Look at that. It's just delicious. So let's, it has a nice wooded stem too, so it's very sturdy. So let's just start putting this stuff in. Glue. I poked my hole because it has a big, thick stem, and it might make the process a little easier. This one is a little thinner. You know, the bunches are inconsistent, but I think it's just the way they harvest the bush. Put a nice long one over here. I don't care if the length is the same on these. It does not matter. We really want it to be very organic feeling. This is a nice curve, so we're going to take advantage of that. I'm working on a big piece, so carrying the glue or the distance is a little risky, especially after yesterday. Work smart, right? Work smart, they say. I don't always. I tend to work fast, and that gets in my way. Okay. Wow. That is some length. I like that. I like it. This is going to be perfect for this. We're going to put one right on this time going out. We're going to put one. Lots of glue. Careful carrying it over. Better to drop it on the bench than on your finger. Beautiful. This comes in several different colors, but the burgundy seems to hold the color the best. First, it doesn't have a lot of blossom, so it's a very, very woody trunk. So the green, and it just doesn't hold the color enough. This is really the only color I purchase in this particular plant material. It does, it's a great holiday color. I tend to use, I don't do very traditional red and green. Not that that would probably surprise anybody after watching these videos, but I do like the burgundies, and this looks delicious with pomegranates and pine cones and pheasant feathers. Stand up, please. These are a little shorter, so I'm going to break them off, and we're going to make a pick for them because I have 3 little pieces in my hand and I don't want to risk them breaking. So I just grabbed one of those false stems from the pods. Do that. Give it a little length. I bring it right in there, very close to the other one, just a few inches away, and it's shorter. I think we could use just a little more, like right in here. So let me grab some more. Oh, you can see the inconsistency. This is mostly kind of golden green, but that's okay. We can make it work. We can make it work. I'm going to put it in tiny little pieces. Following the curve. So I took some out of the tines, and now I'm following the curve. Back up. Now that pale green in here actually reads a little beigey, sort of like the center of the antler. It's interesting how colors can play together. I think I can remember where that is. And we're going to put that right in there. That one is going to come over the antler just a little bit. We can always go back in after and trim some foliage if there's too much, if you feel that there's too much covering the antler. Okay, let's pull just this last little bit that we have on our bench down. Sometimes when there's only like 1 or 2 pieces and you don't have enough, another bag or package, I just put it in even though it might be a little more. Oh, I think you're going to be happy with it. Let's get the tool off the center. Okay, look at that. It's really quite nice. You can see how much length it gave. Okay, so next we're going to use these, and we've used these before, and they're super fun, and they're really bright. The Brunia, this is that Australian and African product. Very pretty, sort of a yellowy green, heavy wooded stem. We're going to take our wire cutters, trim it. I'm going to put this right here, low. I'm actually going to put the glue right in the hole because it's so close and I can see it. And so these tend to be curved, but I want it to be very visible this way. So I'm actually going to put it right in like that. And then we're going to put a little one up next to it in that direction. This one I can poke in because this stem is a little thinner. Tiny. I'm going to put one more next to it. It's just a little too much distance for me. Some might like it, but I'm fussy, I guess. That's not a very nice term, fussy, but selective. I don't know. Okay, let's go. I'm trying to find the right place here. Sort of want to put some down here because this is a big wreath and we know that it's going to be hung high, especially with this bottom tine coming out as far as it does right here. It's not going to be hung in a place where someone's going to take it in the cheek. Just get some wire on there. We're going to go up here. This is not the product that we're going to carry all the way around, so it won't be high. There's just no reason to. It's very much a beautiful focal point, so let's keep it a little more in the low area of the wreath. Really close to the tines. And then when you get down to these tiny pieces, you can just break them. They don't need wire cutters. But this is where you could put, because they're so small, you could put 2 together for a larger impact. And they're nice straight stems, so they stay close to one another, so I'm not even going to pick them. I'm going to put a fair amount of glue on them, though. That glue just dripped on a piece of foliage. We're going to get away with it, though, because we're going to hide it with more product. So they sort of are just sort of surrounding the wreath here. We're going to put another one over here. So it really looks like these are little buds to this guy. And now we're going to put these last few pieces. This is how it damages. They're fragile. So you can just pull those off. Well, it looks like this really got squished. I'm not going to use that one. This is a very, very expensive wreath, so this one is in much better shape. Sometimes you can trim those and add them to another piece, but In this case, I'm not going to. You get to judge. This wreath base is tougher than the other ones. There. Okay, so it's sort of landscape-ish. Let me clean my bench up. So we just did this area. We're just going to let that be free, loose, wild. And we're going to add a little more of that color, but we're going to add it in a different material. This is the hydrangea. It's preserved, antique green. Just going to use the center, okay? So they're nice and fresh and, well, not fresh, but preserved, so freshly preserved, so they're very flexible. We're going to need to put a pick on this though because it is a little fragile, those little stems that hold the blossom tend to separate, so we're going to give it a stiff stem. You know, we don't even need this on here, so we trim that off. Okay. And I'm going to carry a little bit down here. Easy to pierce it right there. It's almost, well, it has a little more yellow in it, I guess I would say, a lot of a yellow in it than this, but I think it's going to read sort of chartreusey green when it's all together. I'm going to use these little green picks because it's so lightweight, it can stay on that little pick. Sometimes the heavier pods and stuff need a thicker stem than that. We're going to go way over here. I picked up the foliage. Doesn't always have to go on top. You can lift underneath too. This one's easy, but again, I don't want it to be so floppy, so I'm going to squeeze those together, which means I have to put the stem starting way up there in order to hold them. So I'm going to put the stem up there, and I'm going to tape it from that far up, and that'll hold those very snug. Down. Back up a little bit. This has wire in it, so it's a little flexible. Let me find a place before. I think we're gonna go right up there. And then we're gonna put probably one more up on the other side about 10 o'clock. I'm moving foliage. Watch your fingers. It's beautiful. It's very golden in there. Again, we're going to pinch those together, so we'll just use what's left of that. I can trim that off some. Tape this. Tape it back up. Trim just a little bit. Right up in there. Doesn't need a whole lot of glue because it's just lightweight. And those little picks really pierce the straw very easily, so they go in pretty far. There. It's getting nice and full. Okay. So what I'm going to put in now are these pods. And I chose these, loving the texture. They do sort of look pine coney. We've used these before. These are called Platys, P-L-A-T-Y-S. They are from South America. And I love them because I feel like they work really well with the antler. So we're just going to start trimming them. So these are pretty fragile, hollow. Remember how we did this with the lotus pods? Oh no, that was just the hull. Oh, it does feel a little loose. They're not its natural stem, so I'm going to put some glue in there and lean it and let it dry and we'll just work with another one. So I think we'll cluster them in threes and we'll start right there. And I'm just gonna poke it. Cluster in three because they're small and they'll just make more of an impact when they're in a group. And when you cluster, don't forget, they're not all at the same length or height. Close together, but not all the same. So each stem has to be a different. And you could lay them out to get a better feel of them if you needed to. But again, it will determine on how far in you push them as well. So don't forget that when you're putting them in there. But I find them far more effective in a big design anyway, in clusters. There. Okay, let's do 3 more over here. Look at this funky one. They're so neat. I just love the texture of them. I really like to put them right down here, which feels like it's at the bottom of the wreath, but let's not forget where this is going to be viewed from. So, glue up and down the stem. He's heavy. He needs to sit on something. 2. Glue. My hungry glue gun. We're going to put 1 more in. Nice chunky one, really close to the other 2, so they're tight together. The stems feel a little fragile. I don't know why they're bending. To put a little more glue underneath, not standing up the same. I'm gonna have to put a little piece of foliage in there to hold them, so hold that. Oh, I wonder if I could just maybe prop this up there. Because when you have to sort of MacGyver it all while they're drying. Maybe even that. Okay, they're resting. They're resting. Okay, we're going to do 3 more on that side, and we, how perfect, have 3 more. So this is what I mean, is you could just sort of play it like that and then measure them, but again, depends on how far you pierce through into that straw. So we're going to just put a cluster. We're going to put it right up in here. It feels a little naked over there to me. We want to pull a little of this tone over here because we don't have any. Watch your eye when you're working on an antler. Got one going to go in right there. Shortest one first. Glue. Next one. Probably going to go right in the same hole. Makes them really tight together. Probably gives them a little support too, because this little piece that the fake stem is sort of hollow. Okay, that's that. Let's see what we're looking like. So you can see it just pulls a little of this color out. We could always do something lighter, but I sort of feel like lighter is going to even take away from this in some ways. So we're going to put maybe just some grains around the bottom and then some feathers. And we'll come right back and do that. Thanks. Stay tuned.